Welcome into a week 2 Giants Hangout brought to you by Crestron. I'm Madelyn Burke, joined by Russ Salzberg, Jonathan Casillas, and Matt Citak. Guys, week 2, turning the page. Week 1 is in the books, but we got to take a moment to at least acknowledge what happened out there. Giants fell to the Commanders in the season opener. Russ, what's your takeaway from that one?
I was just flat out dumbfounded by what I saw. I didn't expect it. I don't think anybody expected it, anybody involving the Giants. They just need to improve, quite frankly, across the board. The biggest things that I saw, there was no surge from the offensive line at all. Case in point, first and goal at the 1. You need to do that. You need more than 6 points. You need less drop passes. It just Listen, when you lose 14-6 and you lose the way they did, you don't go crazy. You don't get nuts and make all kinds of changes of what people are calling for, which to me is just stupid. But you have to regroup and bounce back in a hurry. But they
Well,
need
and to be fair, 21-6 was the final score, but it was
okay
6 in the fourth quarter, so it could have been.
Yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda. You know what? That just gives you headaches. Coulda, woulda, shoulda doesn't get it done. You have to go and play the game. I was saying 14-6. You know what the best play of the game was for the Giants? It was 14-6. They had the Commanders had 3rd and 1 at the 49-yard line. It was either late the third or fourth quarter, I don't remember. And it was a short pass to Deebo Samuel, and Drew Phillips made the play of the game. When he grabbed him and threw him around, I see you shaking your head, Jonathan. To me, that was a big-time play.
Huge.
But other than that, we weren't seeing big-time plays, and that's what you need to see.
Casillas, what's your takeaway?
And Russ, I mean, I got the same points for you for offense. Literally, the first thing I said was establishing a line of scrimmage as an offensive line. To me, I saw a couple of things like the goal line situation you were talking about with Bo. The one he was turned around, the running back ran right into him. His alignment was wide. And down in the red zone, especially in the low red, in the tight red zone, all the details, all the inches truly matter. So one of my things I had was details, not just for the offensive linemen, but for the receivers and for the tight ends as well. And I also have on my list, catch the damn football.
Yep.
Got to be able to do that, and I love Malik Neighbors just like we all do. And I think it was a non-play, but he dropped the touchdown. But it was in his hands. He was in the end zone. I don't think the play counted. It was a penalty or something like that. And body language. That was the thing I took from the first game, because it's like no matter what happens during the game, there's going to be losses, there's going to be wins. You need that body language to be there, not just for yourself, but for your teammates, right? And on the defensive side of the ball, I saw a lot of gap integrity issues. Like it wasn't about the Giants getting pushed around. It was that guys were in the wrong gap. A lot of motions with Deebo Samuel, McLaurin kind of messed up the gap integrity, especially from the defensive backs. And then I think the number one takeaway from every single game until we start seeing it is the Giants have to create takeaways on defense.
Yeah, we saw one almost. Cordell Flott had the ball kind of bounce off his hands. He almost got it early in the game, but it almost doesn't get you the takeaway. Citak, what were your takeaways from this game?
Yeah, I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, coming off of a preseason where the Giants scored over 30 points in all 3 games, it was totaled 107 points. That was the most they've ever scored in the 3.
Y'all got to throw the preseason away, guys.
But still, the execution was there. I get what Citak is saying.
To do with the regular season, guys.
It's a different game, but they were executing down the field. Yeah,
with vanilla defenses, cover 2, cover 3, easy.
Hey, vanilla's a flavor too.
Okay. I like that one.
Look, there's a reason why preseason record does not count for your final record. I completely agree with you, JC. Like, it doesn't really matter now. And we clearly saw that because it didn't carry over into week 1.
Yeah.
And, you could point to, a wide variety of different areas as to why it didn't work. For me, one of the biggest ones had to be the offensive line. You guys touched on it. They just, in the run game, there was no push at all. Russell Wilson felt like it seemed like he was like under attack every other play. That definitely needs to improve. And I think Washington's defense was a little bit overlooked going into that week 1 matchup. I think they do have a talented defense led by Dan Quinn, who's a defensive-minded head coach. And then on the other side of the ball, I feel like this has been, the defense's Achilles heel for the last couple of years. You got to stop the run. And I know this week 1 game against the Commanders with Jaden Daniels under center, and he is one of the toughest quarterbacks to go up against. because of his dual threat ability. You know, he was the second leading rusher for the Commanders. Not every week are the Giants going to go against a team that has a quarterback that can run like that. However, 220 rushing yards allowed, that's way too much, almost 7 yards a carry. You know, this week the Giants are going to face a Cowboys team who averaged over 5 yards a carry against a good Eagles defense. So that run defense needs to step up. You know, the pass rush talked at length the last couple of months about how you can't get into those 3rd and long passing situations unless you win on the early downs. The Giants didn't do that too much this past weekend. They're going to have to do it this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the Giants defense, though, for getting after the quarterback. Like you mentioned, Jaden Daniels, such an elusive quarterback. 3 sacks on that guy is nothing to scoff at, especially for a pass rush that has a lot of hype coming into the season. But you're right, the run defense has to be better, and the run offense has to be better. Like, Russell Wilson leading the Giants in rushing with 44 yards is probably not what you want to see on a week-to-week basis. You got to get the backs going. You got to pound the run game, establish the run so that the offense can get opened up so you can put some points on the board. But you know what? Let's turn the page because we've got another division game in week 2, taking our talents down to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Citak, what are your early predictions or takeaways? What are you focusing on when you look at this game, Giants-Cowboys in week 2?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me is probably how are the Giants going to match up against the Cowboys offense? Because I don't think there's any doubt about it after the Cowboys traded Michael Parsons. Their offense is going to be the unit that carries that team to any level of success that they have this year. The defense, we'll see how the Cowboys defense turns out, but they have one of the top wide receiver duos between CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. They have a very talented pass catching tight end and Jake Ferguson. You know, their running backs, who a lot of people overlooked going into the season, showed some signs of life against the Eagles last week. So how the Giants can match up against this Dak Prescott led offense, you know, how they can pressure him, make him feel uncomfortable in the pocket, force him out of the pocket. That's going to be the biggest thing to watch for me this weekend.
Well, and you mentioned the receivers that we saw on Thursday Night Football in their season opener. CeeDee Lamb had a little case of the dropsies and all that. We can't expect that week in and week out, but Casillas, how do you kind of focus on hampering that Cowboys offense?
I mean, look, they're explosive, man, and let's be real about this. When Dak's healthy, this offense is rolling. You know, they proved that year after year. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best, one of the greatest receivers in the league. One of those drops, he turned that to a catch. They beat the Eagles on opening night. They're a tough out on offense, you know. Bringing in Pickens and also what they do with Turpin, right? They found their new running back in Javonte Williams. Miles Sanders, you know, he's been in the league for a while. He's a proven entity. Turpin, he's like their gadget guy. So he could be a threat in the passing game. Where I see him affecting the Giants big time is the edges of the defense on some of these run plays that they like to get him, like to get him involved with. And the Giants have to have better gap integrity, like I talked about from the Commanders game. And look, we got to see these young players for the Giants, these second-year guys, the Neighbors, the Theo Johnsons, the Tyler Nubins, the Drew Phillips. They can't play like rookies anymore. We can't keep saying, hey, all right, they're rookies, they're making mistakes. They're not rookies anymore. They're in their second year. They can't keep doing the same type of thing. Dallas, with their offense, they're so explosive. They want to get to the perimeter because they know what lies on the inside of that defense. Dexter Lawrence is there. And I don't know if you guys watched the All 22. Dexter Lawrence was doubled on almost every single play last game. That's why you had Burns have the game that he had. And that was one of my takeaways from the Commanders game. If Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, these guys that are going to get single blocks because Dexter Lawrence demands the double team every single play, the guys have to win one-on-ones to create different situations for this offense. If this offense is its rhythm, they have the athletes on the outside that can create a lot of problems for the Giants. So I look for them to stifle them. They found their new running back in Javonte Williams, and then offensively get some type of rhythm going, establish some type of rhythm going, maybe get the ball to Malik Neighbors a little earlier in the game a couple of times. So we have a little bit better body language from him as the game progresses along. But I really want the Giants to establish the run and do a good job in gap integrity against the Cowboys, because the Cowboys, they showed that there's something to be reckoned with this year.
Well, and you mentioned how Dexter Lawrence was doubled against Washington. Of course, that combined with the fact that he was on a snap count really affected the defense. But Malik Neighbors was also doubled by Washington's defense as well quite a few times. And I think to your point, if you establish the run early and you get different elements of your offense going, then you can't zero in and put all of your eggs on covering Malik Neighbors in that essence. But Russ, what are you focusing on in this one?
Listen, I agree with what Jonathan just said. It's grow up time for a lot of guys. You know, you're not rookies anymore. You got to start playing. You know, you can talk about Malik Neighbors, but I saw Theo Johnson, who I'm very high on. Last week I said I expect a breakout season. He dropped a couple of easy balls. I mean, you can't be doing that, but you can talk about the young guys all you want. I'll go with what I said to open. Your offensive line, you know, you can talk about young guys, but your offensive line are made up of veterans. They need to play better. I need to see across the offensive line, it needs to be better. I need to see protection for Russell, and I need to see a surge on short yardage plays. And we didn't see that. That has to improve, because if you improve on that, then you're not in those third and long situations, and then you have Russell Wilson and a chance to hook up with Malik Neighbors or Darius or you know who had a very good game. We're not talking about it. Wan'Dale Robinson had a very good game. Yeah. I'm expecting more of that from him this season.
Yeah, you mentioned the short yardage too. I know, Casillas, that you're anti talking about the preseason, but one thing we did see quite a few times in the preseason was that screen game was working. Those screen passes were working well, and we didn't really see the Giants offense utilize that as an option against Washington. We'll see how that kind of shakes out. I think it's time we play a different game. Russ, I know you got a little trivia for us this week. What's up your sleeve?
Yeah, well, it's, you know, what do you know? What do you say? And listen, we're playing at Jerry's World this weekend, and people might not remember, but the very first game played at Jerry's World involved your New York Football Giants when they beat the Cowboys back in 2009 by a score of 33-31. So my question to you, for you guys today, is this: four players scored points for the Giants in that game. I mean, it'd be great if you can name more than one, but I'll go to each one of you, and no looking at any phones or anything. Give me a player who scored points in that game. There are four men. Give me a player who scored a point in that game.
Eli Manning?
No. Let's go to the next one.
I mean, he signed the wall. Okay, Amani Toomer.
Plaxico Burress, Ahmad Bradshaw.
I was going to go Bradshaw.
No. How about this for you put your thinking caps on. How about this for a hint? One guy who scored points has the same initials as the greatest Giant in history.
Oh, LT,
Lawrence Tynes?
Lawrence Tynes, yeah.
Hello, there's one.
You got it.
All right. Now give me somebody else.
Brandon Jacobs.
No.
Really?
Two of them are receivers.
Steve Smith.
Hakeem Nicks.
Bingo, there's one. All right, you got your thinking cap on.
Yeah.
Now the next one, I'll give you his initials. Eminem, and it's not Mickey Mantle.
Mario Manningham.
Hello, yes.
Hello.
No one is going to get the fourth one. Nobody. A defensive back.
Corey Webster.
Nope.
Was he on the team in 09?
I forgot. I didn't even remember this guy. His name is Bruce Johnson. He was with the Giants for 2 years. He scored on a 34-yard interception return. If he came up and kissed me on the cheek, I wouldn't know who he is. I completely forgot about him.
Okay.
But you guys did okay. You know, with a little tips, you did okay.
We appreciate that. Yeah, we appreciate the hints though there.
There you go.
What do you know? What do you say?
What do you know? What do you say? We'll get you next time.
All right. So wait, to summarize, the very first game at the new stadium in Dallas, the Giants won. Mario Manningham, Lawrence Tynes, Hakeem Nicks.
No, where did he come up with?
Steve Smith.
I mean,
Steve Smith, not Hakeem.
I'm just naming people now.
Yeah, Madelyn, I get it. Hakeem Nicks and Steve Smith. That sounds close. Easy to make a mistake.
Often mistaken for each other. Never mind. Who needs a summary of this segment? Let's keep it moving. Let's get some barbecue draft going.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, now it's going to be, we're drafting some barbecue plates over here because, of course, Dallas, we're talking barbecue. We're talking food. Why not? Who's the number one pick? We forgot to talk about this before the show, so we're doing it live.
Casillas, you get first pick.
There
I
we
get
go.
first pick. And
Producer
we're talking about
Pearson, voice of God. All right, you have the #1 overall pick on your barbecue plate.
it has to be the staple of every barbecue / cookout, a cheeseburger. American cheese, beef cheeseburger, of course. One flip. One flip. Any more than that, I don't want that burger. And the buns gotta be toasted. That's it.
Toasted potato.
Number one pick gotta be a cheeseburger at a barbecue, baby.
Well, okay, I think you and I are thinking of different barbecues because
Yeah, me too.
like
I'm
a
confused
cookout.
by that. A hamburger?
A hamburger. I'm
A
like going burnt
cheeseburger.
ends. I'm going burnt ends over here. My toss up for the #1 overall was the pulled pork or the burnt ends. And I was like, well, he's probably going to take the pulled pork. So let me go with the burnt ends. But you went cheeseburger?
Well, this is the thing. A barbecue doesn't mean you're only eating barbecue food. There's a
Yeah, but
food that you
Dallas-
barbecue on a grill like a cheeseburger.
But Dallas is known for its Dallas barbecue, which is the point of the game.
Jonathan,
To see us throwing the cheeseburger in there. Let's go.
Yeah, cheeseburger's #1 for me at a barbecue. You're talking about going to a barbecue, right?
We're talking about eating the cuisine that is barbecue.
If you were going to a barbecue in Dallas, that's the first thing you would request?
Yeah, because you know why? Because everybody's thinking like you guys, and you only got the barbecue type food. I want a cheeseburger.
But if you go into like a barbecue restaurant, right? Like a place that's known for its ribs and its pulled pork, are you ordering a cheeseburger?
No, but this is not a barbecue restaurant. This is a barbecue. That's a
The
difference.
barbecue
guys.
restaurant draft.
Jonathan, the barbecue is in Dallas. It's not in Jersey City. Okay? I know you're a homeboy, but it's not in Jersey City. It's in Dallas.
That was good. That was good. I'll let you get that one off. I'm still rocking with the cheeseburger. You're not changing my mind.
All right, let me go with burnt ends then. Let me go with burnt ends as my choice.
Do I get a second choice here?
Is it just me and you? All right, go. Let's go.
Does it come back to me? So I get the third choice, right? You got the
I guess.
cheeseburger, you got the burn ends. I think you got to have some type of barbecue chicken, the leg, right? The wings, the breast, but the leg. You got to have a leg, a nice, healthy, big legs. I don't want the little small baby legs that came off the wing. I want a nice leg, right? I want it grilled the right way with a nice barbecue sauce on it.
I feel like we just got to get everyone involved here. Citak, what's your first pick?
I'm shocked that no one has said barbecue beef brisket. I mean,
Exactly.
especially the beef brisket that they make here in the cafeteria at the Quest Diagnostics Training Center, when it falls off the bone. I mean, that was easily my #1 pick. I'm shocked it has not been chosen yet.
No,
All
and
right.
if it's not brisket, how do you have a barbecue and you're not, especially in Dallas, without ribs? Plain old ribs.
That would have been my
Ribs.
second choice.
See, these are all valid first choices. Casillas has taken cheeseburgers and chicken legs off the board.
But I'm thinking of
But you know
like
what?
Russ
That's your
said.
front office. That's your scouting, Casillas.
But what Russ said, I'm thinking when I think barbecue, right? I didn't think barbecue food. I thought cookout.
But it's like when you walk into a barbecue restaurant, they're not worried about what you're thinking about. They're worried about what they're cooking. I'm into it though. All right. I gotta go with pulled pork as the next choice. Burnt ends and pulled pork. Those are my two faves.
Well, I
Citak,
got my two. Citak got to give us one more.
Ooh, I mean, my second was going to be like barbecue ribs, baby back ribs.
Well,
But
Russ already-
pulled
Yeah,
pork
wait,
also is on my
we all
mind.
forget about some of the side stuff, like
mac and cheese.
how about some
Mac and
corn on the
cheese.
cob?
Cornbread.
Corn on the cob.
Cornbread and mac and cheese are my two stars of the plate on the side.
I agree.
Maybe a little coleslaw if it's good. But baked beans, I don't know. Now we're just naming foods. This is no longer a draft. This is just naming.
Making me hungry for lunch.
Undrafted
Right.
free agents right there, guys.
Yes. We gotta devour the competition in the cafeteria this week. We'll see if they pull out the brisket and the pulled pork and all that good stuff. All right, let's play a little over under. Week 2, Giants Cowboys. We got 3 stats for you guys. We're gonna see if you think that they're gonna go over or under these numbers. Russ, over under 100 receiving yards for Malik Neighbors.
100. I'm going to say I'm going to say under, and that's not taking a shot that he can't do it. I just think they're going to try to distribute the ball. And as I mentioned earlier, I think you're going to see a lot of Wandell as well.
Casillas?
Yeah, I agree with Russ. I think defensively for the Cowboys, they'll probably try to focus in on Neighbors a lot, even though Wandell had a great week one. I think, they understand, they have their CeeDee Lamb. Malik Neighbors is our CeeDee Lamb. So I think when you play against a player like that defensively, you got to figure out a way to stop him. And I think that'll limit his yards.
All right. Matt?
Yeah, I wanted to go over here, but I have to go with under. I mean, the Cowboys completely took out AJ Brown and Devontae Smith in the NFL in the league opener last week. They played a lot of two safeties high, just took out the deep game. I think we're going to see similar strategy for the Cowboys this weekend. I think they're going to force the Giants to try to establish the run, which hopefully the Giants will do. And if they do, then that'll open things up in the passing game. But I think 100 yards is just a little too steep.
I'm going to take the over because Malik Neighbors in week one at Washington, despite looking frustrated, had a quiet 71 yards. And if you were to say casually watching that game, how many yards do you think he had? I would say under 50, but no, he had 71. I could see over. He breaks off a big play or two. We get there. Leak, I could see it for you. Let's go. Defensively, over under Citak, over under 3 sacks for the Giants defense.
Oh, this one easy over. I mean, the Giants had 3 sacks this past weekend against the Commanders, who I think have a sneaky good offensive line. It's so much more improved from where it was last year with Laramie Tunsil and Josh Connerly as the new tackles. Dallas, they have a solid offensive line, but I mean, we saw what the edge rushers were able to do. Casillas mentioned, Dexter Lawrence was double teamed nearly 70% of his snaps out there, which set up a lot of one-on-one situations. We saw Brian Burns take advantage of it with 2 sacks. Kayvon and Abdul split a sack. I think we're going to see a lot more of that on Sunday. I'm going over 3 sacks.
Casillas?
I'm going to go under. And honestly, it's a compliment to that quarterback over there in Dak Prescott. I think he's a very underrated quarterback, and I think he's smart. And when you play against smart quarterbacks, they don't allow you to sack them. He has a good presence in the pocket where he steps up in the pocket or slides outside. I wish the Giants would have over 3 because I think if they can do that to the Cowboys, they'll have a good night defensively.
Russ?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with. I'm not taking anything away from the Giants, but I'm gonna have to go with the under because over 3, you're talking 4 and more, and 4 and
yep.
more. I mean, that's a lot of sacks for any defense in a game. I'll tell you what, if the Giants go over 3, book it now that they're going to win
W.
that game.
Yeah,
book it now they'll win the game. But I got to go with under. I'm not saying they're not going to win the game, but 4 is a lot of sacks, man, by one team. So I'm going to go with under.
They did just sack Jaden Daniels 3 times, and Jaden Daniels not the easiest quarterback to take down.
And credit to producer Pearson for making it a tough line. I'm going to give it a push. I'm going to say exactly 3 sacks. Yeah. I'm making my own rules over here. Like
easy way out there, Maddie. Easy way out there.
I think 3 is a good number. It's my lucky number. I could see them getting 3 sacks again in week 2. All right, finally, we got to get takeaways, right? That's been a point of emphasis for Shane Bowen in this defense with the turnover chest. Casillas, over under half a takeaway. Basically, do they turn the ball over or not?
They have to. Like this is the way they win the game. They have to be able to create turnovers. And in order for them to win the game, which I think they have a chance this week, even though the Giants don't have a lot of success in Dallas. But I think this is the way they win the game, creating turnovers. So I think they go over. Hopefully it's more than 1. And if they start doing more than 1 turnover, that gives the Giants a lot more chances to win the game, give their offense a couple more possessions, which they need.
Citak?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over here as well. And I think I'll take it a step further. I think it's going to come in a fumble. One of the safeties is going to just punch the ball out after a pass catcher catches the ball. Tyler Nubin, Javon Holland, one of them are going to punch it out, a nice little Peanut Tillman punch. And the Giants are going to recover. I mean, as JC just said, the Giants need to force some turnovers in this game. The Cowboys offense is just too high powered, too good. Like the Giants are going to have to turn the ball over and set their own offense up with some good field position. At some point, it's time to be a damn Pirate.
Citak calling his shot with a peanut punch. I like it. All right, Russ, what do you got?
Listen, we're not asking for a whole lot. We're asking for more than half a sack,
One, just
one.
one, Russ.
Time.
So
One time.
I'm gonna go with the over, and I think it's gonna come similar to what Citak just said, but it's not gonna come. Well, it's gonna come via a fumble, but that fumble is gonna come via a sack.
Strip sack.
One of the three, a strip sack. Yeah, that's where I think it'll come from.
All right, I could see it. I'm going to take the over on this. We saw a couple moments where the Giants almost had their hands on one in week one. It's been something they've been focusing on all through training camp. That turnover chest is getting hungry for a ball. Put it in there right there. Let's get over. Let's get one takeaway for these New York Giants defensively. All right, I think that's it. Week two, Giants, Cowboys taking their talents down to Dallas. Hopefully the travel is easier. I know week one, the Giants were sitting on the tarmac for 5 hours before the plane took off to go to Washington. So maybe a little bit easier travel day will make this team look a little bit more together on the field on Sunday. But that's a wrap for week two Giants Hangout, brought to you by Crestron. For Russ Salzberg, Jonathan Casillas, and Matt Citak, I'm Madelyn Burke. We'll see you next time.